So I wasn't sure if I would have anyone here this morning, so thank you very much for being out at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And I also wasn't sure about the different levels and the different sorts of media that we'd be dealing with. So this is going to be an overview, but it has links, and I give you the information where you can go for other more in-depth materials that are specific to what you want to do. Particularly for those of you that want to digitize, there's a whole video that you can watch online that shows you how to do digitization. And it's at the Library of Congress website. So we're going to be talking about personal digital archiving. And that includes things that you have on your home computers. It includes things that you might have on your phones today. If you have a laptop, or if you have a mini, any of those. If you have a Kindle, you might be saving materials on your Kindle. There's all sorts of devices that we're using today to communicate, to save, to take information from, and to carry it around with us. And there are things that you need to know about each of the devices that you're using on how to get it where you want it to be. I would recommend that you manage your materials on your desktop or your laptop, and you don't try to manage it from a mini or from a Kindle or from your phone. It's just a little difficult to try to manage things in this size of a screen. So, all right, so we're going to be talking about all of these materials, and I want to thank the Library of Congress and the National Digital Infrastructure Preservation Program for the materials that we'll be using today during this session. Now, we're going to start with the hard part. There is absolutely nothing that you can do to avoid this. If you want to manage your materials, you're going to have to do some of these steps that we all really don't want to do. And it has to do with organization and identification, sorting things out. You can't skip this step if you want to have a clear, concise, identified collection that you pass on to others who are interested in those materials. So you need to identify every place where you have your photographs, your audio recordings, your video, your email, and the documents that you want to preserve. If you are scanning material, and many of you mentioned that you will be doing that, you have a wonderful opportunity when you create those digital scans to organize them by topic or by year, and to add metadata information, i.e., you're identifying the location of the photograph, the individuals in the photograph, and any other information that you would like to include, especially on your mission trips to Africa, anything that you want people to know about that particular trip that you took. You want to include that information so that you have it with the digital image. The digital image doesn't help anyone if 50 years from now someone picks it up and they don't have any clue or context about that information. So identification is very, very important. You want to choose the high quality versions of what you're doing. So if you're taking photographs on your camera, and if you use your phone, you're going to get the raw file that is created from the phone. If you are using a SLR camera, you're going to be able to determine if you want to keep the raw file, but I would say that you want to keep a TIFF, that's .TIF, or a JPEG, .jpeg. And the reason that you want to do that is because the raw files from the camera, that's a proprietary version of the file. It's a version that's created by the camera company, and so you want to ensure that over time this material can be accessed. So if you convert it into a standard format, then that will be something that you can carry through over the years because it's a standard that everyone else in the world is using. So when you're using video, you want to choose a standard video format, and I have a list of file formats that I will give you that are standards as part of the packet of materials. So you'll be able to take a look at that. For email, you're going to have to determine if you want to keep it in an email format or if you want to transfer to a PDF. How many of you are familiar with the PDF file format? Okay. And that's really going to be a personal choice that you make depending upon how many megabytes or gigabytes of data in your email systems, and if there's any email messages in there that you feel you need to preserve over time. So, one of the books that's out there on Amazon that's very popular right now is written by a Japanese woman on organization skills and organization of things in your life. And what she recommends is that you pick up an item, determine if that item brings you joy, as a way to determine if it's something that you want to preserve over time. So if you're interested in uncluttering your life, I recommend that you take a look at that book and that you use this in your process of determining what you're going to save. I've had my phone for a year, and I only have 10 pictures on here. There are people who have thousands of pictures on their phone. And how many of those pictures are the same shot of the same individual or the same site? How many of those do you really need? So in your photographs, you look at which of those photographs have value enough for you to use and translate over time. For example, when we work with the governor's office, we got 2 terabytes of data from the governor's photographer, Governor Riley's photographer, with over 10,000 photographs in there. And as we started processing that material and looking at it, sometimes we had 25 images of the very same event, same position, same, nothing changed about it. So you don't want to leave behind, or you don't want to create something that later will be an issue for someone else coming after you. So try to think about those things in your organization. And then you need to think about how you're going to place those in folders, what folder names you're going to use, and what file names you're going to use. So in the same transmittal of records from Governor Riley's office, we received some materials from the other administrative staff. So when we opened those files and started looking at them, it was things like Bob's itinerary, Jason's letter. What can you tell about those things? From looking at the title, you can't tell very much. And that means you have to open it up and look at it to determine what it is. So I encourage you to use titles for your folders and for your items that you're creating that are very descriptive. And you don't want to have spaces in between it. So if you're going to, and I hope you don't mind me using your Africa trips as an example, but it could be mission _Africa _2006 could be your folder title. Right away, people know what's going to be in that. Oh, actually, if we add photos to the title, it's dead on what's in that. Yes, sir.
So mission would be the folder title?
I would say mission _Africa _photos _year.
Is the folder title?
Yeah.
All of the...
Sure. You can make your titles as long as you want. Just don't leave any spaces in it. That causes a problem later, sometimes when you're trying to convert things. The computer, ones and zeros, doesn't always read that well, or it causes things to fall off. Underscore is perfect, or if you want to run it all together, that's fine too.
Why do you use underscore?
I use underscore because I like to see the individual words, and the underscore helps me see that better. Some people like to run it all together, and they're fine with that. It's a personal taste thing in that case.
That just spaces it, does it not?
Yes,
Spaces the word.
right. Yeah, so it puts a little space in between there without letting a blank space that it has to take care of. So
it doesn't like the spaces when you switch it to like a different software program or something?
sometimes, yes. And also if you're running processes. So the goal is that eventually you're going to have a folder of all standard formats, okay? And so 10 years from now, a new standard format for your photographs comes along and you want to convert everything. If you have file formats that are no spaces, there will be no problem when you say convert everything in folder A from a TIFF to a PDF, let's say, and it'll run the process without any problems. So that's why you want to avoid those spaces. Yes?
I know that PDF is easy to send to other people. Is TIFF just as easy to send to?
TIFF is not easy to send to other people. TIFF is going to be an extremely large file. So if we're talking audio or video or photographs, these are all large format. Newspapers, large format files, lots of space. You're going to need a removable hard drive to store that, or a computer that has tons of memory, okay? The TIFFs, though, are not things that you want to use to exchange. That's what you want to use to preserve. The PDF or a JPEG is much easier to send across the internet.
So I can go back into the TIFF, just pull out what I want and then send that as a PDF.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Now, we're moving into cloud storage. A year ago when I talked about these things, I didn't really talk about cloud. We have, if you're using Microsoft, you have OneDrive. If you're using Apple, you have iCloud. And both of these are places that you can invite others to join. So you can share large files that way instead of trying to send them via email anymore.
So you can send a whole cloud section?
You're not sending your cloud section. Your cloud section is stationary. It stays on whatever computer where it resides, but you're allowing people to enter into your space. You can do that if you like. Okay?
And do those people have access to everything in that?
Yes, yes. So sometimes it's good to create different folders that you restrict access to, and you put things you want to share in a particular folder that you share. Yes,
Recently, a librarian, I'm secretary for an organization,
yes.
and I do weekly newsletter.
Okay,
And he suggested that I put these newsletters on the cloud, but then I thought, well, how will people know how to remember after I'm history where the cloud is and how to access it?
right. So you will need to ensure that you have a little manual that you pass on to the president of the organization that says, here's where our cloud is, this is the password, but if you're sharing it through the cloud, everyone should have access to that folder. Dropbox, has anyone used Dropbox? That's another way that you can share. So you may want to keep your cloud as your own cloud and share via Dropbox. And you can set up a free Dropbox account. Anyone can do that.
I have the app, but I've never opened it. What's Dropbox like compared to the cloud?
Well, they're all cloud applications. Dropbox is a service that is provided by the Dropbox company where they allow you to get a certain size space for free, and if you have larger files, then you have to begin to pay a monthly charge. But it allows you to invite people by sending them an email, and if you send them an email and they accept, they can access the folders. So we use Dropbox to share newspapers because we're collecting newspapers now from publishers in Alabama, not in the hard copy, but the file that they send to be printed.
When you do that, you have to give them your password and all that?
No. What you do is you invite them to a folder through an email, and that's the only thing that they have access to. They have to create their own Dropbox account to be able to access it, but once they do, that folder is listed on their screen, and they only have access to the folder you've invited them to. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I know Dropbox, usually if you're buying a new computer and it's a Microsoft, I guess, or maybe both, then you have a certain amount of space because you just bought this new computer and you bought.
Right, Microsoft will be OneDrive,
Right,
and Macs will be iCloud.
iCloud, okay, but, all right, so it's, I'm curious about security. I assume if you're, now I've heard all kinds of people say, well, I never buy a computer anymore with a big memory, I just send everything to the cloud.
Right. A year ago, if we were having this discussion, I would have encouraged you to have copies on a hard drive that you maintain as well as in the cloud.
Yeah.
I still recommend that, but I'm a little bit more positive about cloud storage this year than I was last year, because it doesn't matter what we do, that's where the IT industry is going. You will no longer buy Microsoft Office on a CD and load it onto your computer. You will pay a monthly or annual fee to use Microsoft Office from the cloud. And this is where all software and all storage is going. So, you're absolutely right, security is an issue, so I wouldn't trust my treasured things to just one place. And the wonderful thing about working with a digital environment is you can have as many copies as you can afford storage for. And portable hard drives are not that expensive these days, so I would really recommend that you maintain everything on your own portable storage drive, whatever you're using currently on your computer, and then you have cloud storage.
So if you really have, I'm a writer, and
Okay.
you have copyrighted material,
Okay?
you don't want to put that on the cloud.
I would say you're safe to do that, okay? Because the cloud, it's in the best interest of the companies that are offering you storage, i.e. Microsoft and Apple, to ensure that they provide the best security that they can on your systems. Okay? Now, we all read the newspapers and we all see that our information gets hacked. And that's going to be an issue. But they're more interested in money-making opportunities with your credit card number than they are in your written word.
Or your photographs.
Or your photographs, yes. Okay? So, I think you can trust it, and I think you can go there. But as you said, security is only good as the person at the other end who's managing it. Okay? So just, yes, Cindy?
Because of that, I have a question, because I
Sure.
haven't totally bought into the cloud stuff yet. I'm still a little weary.
Yeah.
So I keep all of my photographs. They're not on my laptop because they take up so much space, but they're on a lot of separate little portable drives.
Okay.
What's the lifespan of a portable drive? I mean, how long should you keep stuff on a portable drive before you dump it off onto another one or something else?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I would say 5 years.
Are you talking about a jump drive?
Well,
Well, it could be, but I'm talking about like a little 1 terabyte drive or, you know.
it's removable storage.
Yeah.
Because my laptop doesn't have disk capability, so I just use jump drives.
Okay,
Well, more than that, what is the possibility that 5 or 10 years from now, there will even be a device which will read that hard drive?
That's a good
That
question.
concerns me more than the lifetime of that. that device.
well, that's why you, every 5 years, or if
Keep
you,
up
you,
to date.
you change it, you move it, okay? Because you've got to do that, and you've got to manage your file formats, your PDF or your TIFF or your JPEG or whatever, to ensure they carry through. So that's why that list of standard file formats will be very important for you when you look at the materials that I put out on the website for you, because we try to keep track of what is the current standard. But I say you're pretty safe with a PDF. You're pretty safe with Word. There are billions of Word documents out there that are going to have to be converted to whatever comes later. So you can make darn sure that they're going to ensure that those Word documents can be converted. But when that happens, you need to jump on it and convert it. You can't wait. This is not a game where you can wait. Because if you do, then your materials might get left behind. But removable hard drives, 5 years. CD degradation occurs in 5 years. I don't recommend saving things on CD. I don't recommend jump drives for the sheer fact that you can misplace that jump drive. The only time I would feel comfortable with a jump drive is if you remove it, put your materials on it, remove it, take it to your safe deposit box, and immediately deposit it.
What's the life of that? How long before?
The jump drives, I wouldn't wait 5 years. I would do that. I would check those
Are you
regularly.
saying jump drive or
Jump drive,
Is that a flash drive?
flash drive. Yeah, same flash drive, jump drive, thumb drive. They're all for the same thing. Those little things you carry around that you can misplace.
That's what they said I should just hand over to the person that we were trying to figure out what to do because the technology changes. But then I thought, well, what if he is no longer? And then, so someone said use the cloud. How do you even know which cloud to use?
That's a very good question, and it really has to do with looking on your computer and seeing which cloud product came with your service. Look for OneDrive or look for iCloud. If you don't see those, then you'll need to look at what are the other options out there for you that you can use, and Dropbox and Box are options that you can use.
I have an HP computer which uses Microsoft, which is OneDrive, but then my phone is an iPhone
And it's in the cloud.
and it's in the cloud. Can I get them to merge?
Oh, that's a really good question that I didn't do.
Same issue.
Same issue. All right, so what I will do is I will do some research between now and when I put this material out, and I will direct you to where you need to be on that.
Okay.
Because I don't know the answer to that question. So,
Can I
oh,
back
this is being recorded, so I'll have a mental note.
Can I back up and ask a question about photos?
Sure.
I have an Olympus camera.
Okay.
These cameras, when they're offloaded onto my computer, they are not in TIFF or JPEG format?
Right, they're in the Olympus file format, raw file format.
So I have them stored,
As that format,
okay? So how do you convert them?
you will need
Is
a,
there a button
yeah,
that you can?
well, actually, you will need a software tool
I
to
see.
be able to do that. Photoshop will take that, and you can run a conversion of all of those into another format.
What about Picasso?
Picasa, I'm not familiar with that. Dawn, are you familiar with
Yeah,
Picasa?
pretty much the same deal. I hope it works with his camera.
So if I have scanned my pictures with Picasso, will it automatically convert them?
To Picasso format.
It won't automatically, you can choose.
Yeah, and because I'm not familiar with it, may have more than one format too
Right.
as well, so you may have to look.
We
Yeah.
have to check that.
Yeah, check
Are you saying for long-term purpose storage, they need to be converted either into JPEG or TIFF format?
Correct. And-
I would recommend that highly,
I see.
so that you are able to carry it through over time.
Will it convert all of them at one time when you tell us, or you have to do it one photo at a time?
That's something that
I
I'm,
think Picasa will probably do them all, because when I ran Picasa, I had thousands of photos on my computer from years back. And it scanned the entire computer, it took about 45 minutes. It scanned the entire computer, took all those files and put them into name, date, and place. It's much better organized than my Windows 10 was absolutely overwhelming for me. I gave up on Windows 10.
okay. But see, so here we have a tool that this gentleman is using to organize photographs. So Picasa is something that you might want to check out to do that.
But that's from his camera. What if I already have?
It takes, I've got iPhone photos and tablet photos, all three on my desktop. And I think it took them all three. I have to double check.
Picasa is a software.
But for the hard copy photos that I have.
You have to scan them first.
And then when I scan
And-
them, it'll say save as, and I have the choice of going JPEG or
Okay.
TIFF.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So new scans, when you're scanning, you choose what format you want it to create. Things that you have tons of, I think that it will do a migration, but you need to set the settings so that it changes from X to Z. I.e., when you set that up to run, you set the parameters for what's going to happen during that, and it'll convert all of your Olympus files to whatever you choose, PDF, TIFF, JPEG. Okay.
The newsletters I do are on AOL. I was in the AOL.
Okay, you're emailing them to everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
How does one put it into standard format, or is it in a standard format?
Are you doing them in Word? How are you creating the newsletter?
On AOL.
She does them as an email, so she needs to.
Oh, okay.
Convert them to a PDF.
Yes, we'll need to convert those to PDFs. If you're not creating it in Word and then sending it via email, you need to, if you do it just as an email message, then we need to really convert those to PDF. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit about that. Gosh, you guys, this is good. This is good. Okay, you had a question over here.
Okay, I just bought a new desktop
Okay?
with Windows 10 and Windows 10 Professional specifically, I get it.
Okay.
It has a CD-ROM, but it just does. But I paid extra for the tool to convert to PDFs.
You bought Adobe Pro.
Yes, I did.
All right, good. That's a good piece of software to have.
And if you buy it individually, it's
$499.
If you have a friend who's a tech, you can get it for $50.
Well, so look at ways to find these tools that you might need, and I'll do a list of the tools as well for y'all.
What was that, Adobe what?
Adobe Pro, P-R-O.
I mean, it's great for bunches of things.
It creates PDFs and allows you to edit PDFs, and it allows you to add metadata to PDFs. One of the things that we don't do is every document that you create, the computer attaches some metadata to it. So if you've created a Word document and you go up to File and Properties and Document, you can see what's there, what information is gathered about when that document was created, what the name is, who created it. Add metadata to your files. You can do the same thing with PDFs. File, properties document, add the metadata that you need to do, okay? For your TIFF files, I'm not sure if there's that capability, but in JPEG, you should also have that capability to do that. Okay, any other questions?
On the DVD disc, can you preserve those forever, or they?
No. 5 years, there's going to be problems.
What you need to know, like security or
Yes.
quality, or?
They will, the way those are created,
Okay.
yeah, you've got,
Another DVD, or?
they put down the hard layer, then they put down some oxidized metal, then they put another hard layer on top. When you are recording that, you are recording into the metal surface with the laser, okay? So that metal deteriorates. And so there's been some issues with CDs and DVDs after 5 years. Now you can continue to, you can change it from one CD to one CD or a DVD to DVD. But the problem is, 5 years from now, I bet there isn't going to be a computer sold with a DVD drive.
I have a new one and it doesn't have what I was looking everywhere for. I know I have it in book and I
Right.
didn't have it.
Right.
Same as the floppy drive.
That's right. So that's going to go away.
Like old cassette tapes.
Exactly. Exactly. So you can continue to put it on your DVD, but you probably will not have a machine in the next 5 years to read
Go
it.
ahead and put them in. Yes.
Or put them on a portable hard drive, okay? Which, you know, Office Depot, Walmart, you can get, you know, you can get a portable hard drive at the CVS. They're out there, they're ubiquitous, they're inexpensive. So, oh, yeah, you can get them for, you know, $20. You can get them for $400. It really just depends upon what your needs are and what you want to do. But a good $69 one from Office Depot will work just fine. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
When I scanned the newspapers,
Yes.
I saved some at 600 DPI,
Good.
but I had a lot of newspapers over 15 years and that was taking forever, so I saved some at a lower DPI.
300?
Yeah, can I go back in? And
No.
I can't, I have to go back and rescan those. When I look at my files, can I tell which ones were the 600 DPI and which ones were?
Yes.
Okay.
The ones that are the larger files are going to be your 600. That's a real fast rule of thumb.
Okay.
The higher the DPI, the larger the file is going to be. But you can reduce a large high def file to a smaller version, but you cannot take, with good quality results, a smaller scanned version. So when you're scanning your documents, if you're scanning paper, you scan at 200 DPI or PPI, pixels per inch. If you're scanning photographs, I recommend that you scan at least 600 PPI, just so that someone who wants to go in and see who is that person behind everyone else in the back right corner will be able to do that. If you have posters, graphic work, artistic items, scan those at a higher DPI because you want that visual clarity and acuity for those sorts of materials. Okay, all right. So, let's see. Yes. So we're still on the rules of thumb, and I think I've got about 30 slides. So let's see where we can go. But this is great. Ask your questions as they come to you. Create several copies. So this is what we were talking about. On a flash drive, a removable hard drive, cloud storage. Create a listing or an inventory of your materials and where they're located. Check your files periodically. It does not behoove you to put it on a drive, a flash drive, a CD or DVD, and then forget about it. Once a year, choose 10% of what you've got and check it to make sure the files are still readable, okay? So, I just gave you some examples of folder type of listings and titles. And I use some sort of home things that you might encounter. So, a year folder, if you want to go by year. And this is keeping everything by year. And actually, I should have probably alphabetized. This should be underneath medical, if I was doing it appropriately. So that's one style of structure that you can use in your folder system. And this is a subject folder system. And again, as I said, this is the non-exciting part of what you're doing. But it's the most important part to carry through over time. So you can set these up anyway. I like to put the year at the front just because then it organizes everything by year. Also, if you just want to go A, B, C, D, you can do that. So, this is how to transfer data between your cell phone and your computer. And you're going to have to use various tools to do this. Does anybody use Bluetooth? Okay, Bluetooth will allow you to do some transfers across media. If you're using an Android, you're going to have to use a USB port to download that, so you'll need a cable to be able to do that. Using an iPhone, the Wi-Fi sync will sync. Oh, this is a wonderful thing. If you're on Apple and everything is Apple, it's only when you have one type at home and another type that you use as your mobile unit that we've got this issue that I'm going to check into.
Because I don't use any of the programs that came with my HP. I just do everything on Google.
Oh, okay.
So I can transfer
And so Google is another place where you can keep all of your things together. Sometimes if there's a memory card reader for your phone, you can also just email it to yourself and download it on your computer to get it in there. You can use QR codes or Dropboxes. RAW file versus JPEG, and this is what we were talking about. The camera companies create the RAW file, and it's a proprietary format. So if you keep it over time, you may lose some of your data. But if you transfer it into a standard format, like JPEG or TIFF that we talked about, then it's more portable over time. There's a video, if you would like to hear him talk about conversion of prints and photographs, and I've provided that link for you there. And then audiovisual materials. There's a podcast that Linda Tadic, where she talks about audiovisual, and not too many of you mentioned sound or video. Most of you are with photographs or documents, correct? Okay. All right. Emails. How many of you have emails that you want to save and preserve? Okay. Outlook, if you continue to keep it in Outlook, you want to download it to your Outlook on your desktop. If you want to preserve it over time, identify the ones that deserve that sort of management and create PDFs for those. And you can save if you're using Outlook, You can save as a PDF, and it'll automatically create that for you. Then you can just title it appropriately and put it in a folder on your hard drive and be able to save it over time. Now, so these are the steps, and I'll just step back a minute here. So if you're using Windows XP, you have Outlook Express. That's the software package you want to use. Windows Vista, Windows Mail, Windows 7, Windows Live Mail, Windows 10, I'm not sure what it is. Dawn, do you know what it is?
I think it's the same.
Windows Live? Yeah, okay. And then Apple, you have Apple Mail, Eudora, or Entourage. So those are the things that you want to make sure is on your desktop to save your email. And then there's a free email package called Thunderbird if you don't have any of those other ones that will provide a way to maintain and preserve this. I'm not going to go down through this process, but this is in the notes, so you will be able to follow it if you would like to do that when you download the materials next week.
And do we give you our email, or are you gonna give us your email?
I will give you my email, but I'll also take your email just so we have it in both places. All right. This is more of the methods for downloading this, and it provides you the information that you need for doing that. This is just a little, how many of you have seen POP and IMAP and SMPT and not really understood what you needed to know about those? Okay, so this is just a little information. POP is the language that allows the email client to talk to the computer, and it downloads messages from server, and you need to leave a copy on your server. That's where you will preserve it. So, and IMAP is just the Internet Message Access Protocol, and it synchronizes email accounts. This is what is used, well, the app will have a different version, but in the Windows environment, what's actually syncing your materials across devices.
We need that because I was getting my emails on my phone, but I wasn't able to delete them.
Right, right.
At the same time, I mean, I had to do everything double. I had to delete them on the phone, and I had to delete them on my laptop. But with IMAP, you can delete them in either place, and they're deleted from both places.
From both, they are synced together. So what you see on one device is the same across all devices.
So how do you do that? You have to have software.
Actually, if you go into your settings, you should be able to turn that on.
On my desktop, or either one. Turn IMAP on.
On your phone, you're going to go into settings and turn that on. On your computer,
When I go into earthlink.net, it has an option for me to connect with IMAP when I'm logging in.
okay, so
It's probably the same for anybody else.
who provides your
Verizon.
Verizon. So in the Verizon settings, check to make sure that you have an IMAP sync. If you don't, call Verizon and say, I want to sync. What do I need to do that?
And what about your desktop? You don't have to do anything yet.
Right. You shouldn't. If you're getting your email through Verizon, Verizon should handle that through the service.
I have that same problem.
I think
Okay.
I've got to turn it on my laptop.
Um,
It's on my phone as well.
Okay, so that's going to be something that's in the control panel. I'll check the IMAP settings as well and figure out where that needs to be. Okay. Do any of you run your own website that you want to save? Okay, well then we'll skip this. You'll have it in the slides, but we won't need to do it. Do any of you have Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, any social media? Okay. If you want to save your social media, there are ways to do that. Websites, you have to have a software that you pay for that'll save your website. But If you want to preserve social media, there are ways to do that. Facebook. And in the slides, this says, in your Facebook account, if you go up there and you click on the down arrow, you're going to be able to choose settings and download a copy of your Facebook. When you do, you get a copy of everything that you've ever put out on Facebook to preserve if you'd like to do that. Whatever's up there. Yep. But you're gonna download, it says download, archive me. First time you get the screen, you're gonna click on it and you'll get the download process. You'll need to return to that screen later and click on the download button. So I had to re-enter my password, save the file, and then that's the file that turned up. Facebook, and they used a dash. Sometimes dashes cause problems too, which is why I recommend underscore. So, and then you'll need to unzip that file. So you'll need WinZip, which should have come with your home computer. And this is what happens. It creates a folder. So it's not going to look the way it does out on Facebook. You will have the component pieces and you'll have all of them there, but they're going to look like this. Okay. So it's not going to be all nice and graphic. But you will have the data. Twitter is much the same way. If you want to save all of your tweets, you can go up and click on that and settings, and you're going to go through some of the same things here. Also, YouTube archive. So this is just the directions for how to do that. Go now here to do this. Download. And again, you're going to get the files individually, but it's going to look like this. And Pinterest is this, you're going to have to save your pages, each individual page. There's not an archive for Pinterest. And here's how to save your YouTube videos to your PC if you have any YouTube videos. Do any of you have YouTube videos?
You're talking about personal video. What about if you want to save other YouTube videos to your PC?
Pretty much the same thing. If you go here, it'll tell you how to do that.
You're going to give us copies of all of
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, there's a test at the end, and no. All right. These are some of the pay services that can help you save your material if you want to. Social Safe, for social media accounts, you pay $6.99 a year and it'll save it for you. Here is these cloud services. This is the direction everything is going in. Okay. Any questions about any of that?
I know none of us said anything about videos, but when you said that a while ago, it made me think about like the VHS video that I have already.
Yes.
On that was video. Or I have a cousin who took old wheeled reels and put them on VHS from back when
Right.
my grandparents were.
Yes. It's time to take the VHS to the store and get a digital video. Yeah.
Take it to a place and pay it.
Because I just had some of these 1950s and 60s movies put onto a disc, but now my computer doesn't have a disc, so. So what's the other option?
Well, I was going to say that if you can find some, there should be a way. Even if you bring them to me, I can take them from the DVD and put them onto a flash drive for you. Someone who has access to that instead of paying for it, use your contacts. But if it's on VHS still, it's time to take it to, what's the studio over there by Jackson Hospital? Capitol Filmworks. They can convert it for you. You may be able to do that at Walmart now. I haven't checked, but actually, if it's something that you treasure, I would take it to a nice quality shop for them to do that.
What about old 35mm slides?
Um,
That's about that.
You can get it. Well, you can get if you want to do it, you can get a slide attachment for your scanner and scan them yourself. Or if you want to pay a service, take them to Capitol Filmworks.
They also have these things you can buy, because I have a lot of 4x6 photo prints
Yeah.
that I'm slowly trying to scan into my computer. And they have these little things you can buy, and they're inexpensive. And they have, and I think they'll work for the 35mm slides also. It's different sizes.
And what's the?
What is that?
You scan them in, you put them in these little holders. It was kind of an embroidery hoop kind of thing. You know, you slide them down in there and basically push the button. It's hooked up to your computer, and it'll scan it in, and then you can do with it what you want to and put it where you want to on your computer.
So it goes directly into your computer.
Right.
You don't have to use your scan device.
Right.
Like a scanner for photographs.
Right.
So what's the
Still the
DPI on that? Is it high resolution?
Okay.
No, it's talking about old slides.
We have done that, and like she says, there's a thing that you get to use it on your scanner. Yeah. And then it comes out and you can do whatever, but my
See,
son.
mine, I just put it to my laptop,
Okay,
directly to my laptop.
okay, but this goes through a scanner because my son does it in the highest resolution possible.
Ah.
Sometimes it takes 3 days when you do it.
Right. So that's what I'm going to say. You're going to have the tool that connects up that you load them into. The software that came with your scanner is what's the same software that's going to be used to scan them. And then you set the settings. So scan your slides at the highest PPI, okay? Because again, they're small, you're going to want to look at them larger. So, you know, I would go beyond 6. I would go up to 1200. But again, they're going to be large files. And so, sir, you were saying too that you've done this as well?
I have.
Okay. Did you scan, have you scanned slides before?
I didn't scan them.
Okay.
I have a little thing, well, I have one of these things that projector. But I select the ones I want. I just do it with Sam instead of putting them on CD.
Oh, Sam's will do it. Okay.
I haven't recently in the year or so.
Okay.
One of the neatest devices we have is a device where you put a negative in, a strip of negatives, 5 or 6, black and white, from
Oh, really?
1958.
Really?
And it will read it, you know, you can't see it, no matter how you hold it up. When you put it in, it converts it to a positive, and you can see it, and it's just really.
Where do you get that device?
My son ordered it from, you know, he was a connection, so somehow he got it. I didn't know about it, I just.
If you go to Amazon and do slide viewer,
Yeah.
it should pop up and give you all kinds of
Or
options.
negative, somehow it's
Neg-
specified it's in negative rather than just looking, you know, we all, just have those things where you
Yeah.
call it color sliding and you see it in magnified.
Photographic
This
negative viewer.
versus negative, positive, and you can see it.
I guess it's the old slide projector thing over at Eastbrook. They've got a camera thing over there.
Oh, yeah.
Big old camera stuff. So
Yeah,
you happen to have this one.
okay. So some of that old technology is good to keep around. It's just keeping it working over time. But yeah, good, very good.
Ma'am, you know, you can, on that VHS, if you got time, you got a VHS player, you need the software, and do it yourself. You know, I don't know what they charge at Capitol Filmworks. but
Right. So
it's slow.
you'll need your DVD player. Then you will need the cables to hook up to your computer, and then the software to do it, and you can do it yourself. So depending upon how much you want to invest in it yourself, so you know the process, or, you know, some things send off, some things do yourself.
And once he converts those two things.
A removable hard drive or a flash drive. Although flash,
Flash drives last 5 years.
well, yeah, or less. And all of those are things that you can't set it and forget it. This is not the set it and forget it product. This is the do it and check it product. All of those.
And I actually have a comment rather than a question. I want to go back to what you said about Marie Kondo. Listening to all of this makes this thing very overwhelming.
Yes.
So I'm sure you've all thought, I better be sure I really want to save this, and I don't have an alternate, easier way to access some of these things. For instance, personal photos, you're not going to have an alternate, easier access. A movie, you can go to Netflix, you know? So I like your concept of winnow out, triage first.
Exactly.
Before archiving. Don't just archive everything, or your whole life will be involved in that project.
Right. And you don't need everything.
And we don't.
10% of what you have is all you need to save. Or those things that bring you joy.
And when you had said before, make a list,
Yes.
instead of using, the name of it right now, the spreadsheet that everybody uses.
Excel.
Excel, if you use Access, you can get into it a whole lot easier because Excel is just,
It's just a table and it's hard to search and sort.
but with Access, you can look up the date or Africa or mission or trip, and then everything that you put in, or people, you can put people's names in, everything that you have it saved by, you can access it by, and it's wonderful.
Access is like a spreadsheet.
It's more than a spreadsheet, it's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's a spreadsheet that you can manipulate.
If you get Office, Access, depending upon the version of Office that you get, Access is included. The wonderful thing about Microsoft products is you can go up and say, and you can open Access, go to File, New, and it says, what would you like to do? And it gives you a list and templates. And I'm sure that there is an organization, photo organization or video organization or file organization template that you just click on it and it sets it up for you and you just put in the things that you want.
But if you want to see a specific photo and a friend of yours was there that day, you can put in that friend's name and it'll go right to that photo.
Provided that you've typed in that friend's name when you created that entry, okay? You have to attach. The photo is an object, and it has very little information automatically attached to it in a JPEG or in a PDF. It only has the information that you put into it if you add it, if you file properties and add. The database allows you to join the photograph to a search indexing component, but it's only going to allow you to search to the depth that you populate the database. So you can have this photo and you need to put all of the information about that photo into the database. It takes time to do, but once you do it, you will be able to find anything that you want. It's an organization.
Sounds like the rest of my life will be that.
Makes me want to go home and just delete.
No. It sounds,
Edit.
yeah. There are a lot of moving pieces, and you got to keep in mind a lot of little things. But if you leave here today understanding that save the things that are most important to you, organize them in a way that you can find it, whatever's the easiest for you. And there are a lot of tools. We talked about just using the folder names. We talked about Excel spreadsheet. We talked about a Word listing. We talked about Access database. You can choose which works for you. And that you check it over time and that you have it in several different places. You're going to be fine. All right.